The DME Media School is led by Dr. Ambrish Saxena, Dean DME Media School and Director of DME Studios and Production. He is an accomplished media professional, researcher, author, and political analyst. He has worked at different media platforms ranging from theatre, puppetry, print, radio, television, films, and digital before switching over to media academics and research. Dr. Saxena has played a long inning in active journalism, having association with groups like The Pioneer and Amrit Bazar Patrika during 1980s. He has worked as correspondent for the first ever TV Hindi news magazine Parak on Doordarshan during 1990s. He has been anchoring the highly rated program of AIR FM Gold Market Mantra for close to 2 decades. Sir possesses both professional and academic experience to enrich the teaching experience of students. His students are working in prominent news channels and media organizations. Under his able leadership, students have been placed with prominent organizations like the Times of India, All India Radio, NDTV, News Nation, the Economic Times, the Indian Express, Dainik Jagran, and Sahara. Welcome you, sir. It is a great pleasure to have you here. I request you to say a few words to the students who have gathered here.
Uh, Thank you, Kritika. We have organized this session as part of this uh, interactive series that we have organized with the senior media persons, the broadcast journalists particularly, and the anchors who have earned a name for themselves for the kind of work that they have been doing. And accordingly, we organized yesterday the session, which was addressed by Mr. Amish Devgan, who is the managing editor Hindi cluster in TV 18, News 18. And continuing with the same, today we have invited Peenaz Tyagi, who is senior editor and anchor in the in the news channel that is News Nation. So this is our continuous endeavor to invite the industry people and to ask to request them to interact with our students. Because in any professional program like the program that we have, this 3-year undergraduate course that is journalism and mass communication, it is necessary for us to have the industry interface. And if I can tell you more about DME Media School and Delhi Metropolitan Education, DME Media School has emerged very fast on the scene of all the media institutions which are there in the country. And we have been trying to compete with ourselves. We have set our standards very high, and our competition is not with the colleges of IP University or the colleges of Delhi University, but we have a pan-India approach, wherein we are trying to touch the standards, or rather I should say we are trying to set our own standards, which we believe must be there for quality media education. As far as the pedagogy is concerned, that is the way we handle the things, the way we deliver, the way we impart. That is very, very important, because if we go by the conventional kind of teaching, that is no more acceptable. And particularly this whole COVID-19, this has changed everything. But then, even before this COVID-19 struck in the month of March, even before that, we decided to have our own things. And if I can tell you some few things in very brief, as Kritika has already told everybody, and those who are among our students, fine, but people who have joined from outside and who are not still part of DME Media School, they can understand this, that we believe in empowering our students so that they can handle their things themselves. Our role in DME Media School. Our role is only that of the motivator or that of a facilitator or as a guide. But then we depend on our students and this whole student body which is there. They organize all kinds of programs, whether it's the Teachers' Day or recently as it was done on the Lal Bahadur Shastri Jayanti or the Gandhi Jayanti. So all these things happen, and then we try also to make our students understand that knowledge is the key. If somebody wants to join the media industry is completely a knowledge-driven industry. So we have to prepare ourselves, the students have to prepare themselves to enter in such a world which is completely based on knowledge and performance. So that is how we have formed the WhatsApp group like We Inquisitive, wherein a lot of important information with credible sources is shared with the students. So we try to address straight to the mind. That is our endeavor. And whatever activities we have conducted, we have this international horizon wherein in ICANN, right from the first ICANN, the international conference, we have already organized 3 ICANNs, and all these 3 conferences have been organized in collaboration with the Deakin University. Even UNESCO was with us, even Simca was with us. So we are joining hands with all in organizations of international repute, so that in this exchange a lot of gain is taken to the students. So that is our endeavor. And then another thing which I would definitely like to point out is in 2019, and despite this corona period, we again have planned this, the second edition of SIFI, in the month of December. And we have planned it in the hybrid mode because we are under the impression that corona is not be over by December, but certainly it is on a declining mode. So we are planning it as a hybrid competition wherein certain sessions will be held offline and certain sessions will be held offline. And this is also being organized in a collaboration with Deakin University, Melbourne. So these are our efforts. And one more thing, definitely, which is about the newsletter, because we try to ensure the growth of our students in all compartments, all levels in media, whether it's digital, whether it's radio, whether it's television, whether it's print. And then every month we produce 2 fortnightly issues of the newsletter. And we have made this an interactive newsletter, and which I can definitely claim that this kind of newsletter is not taken out by any media institution, at least in this country, wherein any news story which is published on the pages of the newsletter, and we mostly upload this soft copy of this newsletter and we mail it to all our stakeholders. So anybody who is getting a soft copy of the newsletter will click on the pictures, important pictures, or on the names of the authors, and you can straight connect to DME TV, because in Delhi Metropolitan Education we also have a television channel which is a YouTube based channel, DME TV. So if you are reading the newsletter, you can, by clicking on a hyperlink, you can straight link to the YouTube video of the concerned activity. Similarly, all the names of the authors, and authors are all students are writing their stories, and if you click on their name, then you will straight will be connected to their LinkedIn profiles. So these are the out of the box thing we have been trying to do. And Peenaz Tyagi has already joined. So obviously everybody would be waiting to listen to her. So I stop here and I request Kritika to take it forward so that we can get the chance to listen to Peenaz.
Thank you so much, sir. And we are very happy to have Peenaz ma'am with us. Welcome, ma'am. Now I would like to introduce the head of the department, Dr. Susmita Bala. She is an accomplished teacher and trainer equipped with rich experience in media industry and academics for more than 3 decades. She started her career as a journalist in Dainik Jagran newspaper in 1986 and turned to media teaching at Agrasen Girls PG College, Varanasi in 1990. She has taught in colleges of GGSIP University, namely MBSEM and WIPS. Dr. Susmita has authored 2 books, co-authored 2 books, edited 2 books, co-edited 3 books, and written chapters in 3 books. She has been a member of jury of Akashvani Awards organized by AIR for many years. Under her guidance, we have been able to achieve academic excellence and use innovative pedagogies to impart knowledge. Now, before we start the interaction, I request everyone to please keep the audio muted, and I request you all to please write your questions in the chat box. I and Dr. Ambrish Saxena will be taking your questions on your behalf. The topic for the discussion today is contemporary media trends and aspirations of content creators and receivers, a very relevant topic in the current scenario. The students joining us today will learn the recent trends in media and understand the nitty-gritties of creating compelling media content. This lecture will give you insight into latest media trends. News writing and presentation styles are evolving. Also, the content consumption patterns are changing with time. This lecture will help you understand the challenges and opportunities in media industry in the changing times. We are here joined by prominent journalist, senior editor and anchor at News Nation, Ms. Peenaz Tyagi, who will enrich the
नमस्कार, आप देख रहे हैं न्यूज नेशन में हूं पीनाज़ त्यागी। हमारी इस खास पेशकश में आपका स्वागत है। गर्दिश में पाकिस्तान। जी हां, आज हम बात करेंगे उस पड़ोसी मुल्क की जिसका नाम तो पाकिस्तान है, लेकिन तमाम हरकतें नापाक हैं। 17 साल बाद क्राइम शो इंडियाज मोस्ट वांटेड के मशहूर एंकर सोहेब इलियासी के गुनाहों का हिसाब हो गया। जस्टिस डिलेड, जस्टिस डिनाइड सवाल जरूर खड़ा होता है, लेकिन अंत में न्याय मिला। पत्नी की हत्या के लिए दोषी करार दिए गए इलियासी को दिल्ली के कड़कड़डूमा कोर्ट ने उम्र कैद की सजा सुना दी।
आपको बता दें कि कच्छ के इस रन के लिए, पेट्रोलिंग के लिए बीएसएफ के जवान जो हैं लगातार तैनात रहते हैं, पेट्रोलिंग करते हैं और यहाँ पे उन्हें कई तरह की जो है दिक्कतों से दो चार होना पड़ता है। यहाँ पर नमक से भरी हुई हवाएं चलती हैं, तापमान जो है वो 50 डिग्री को पार कर जाता है और उस तापमान में नमक से भरी हुई हवाओं के अंदर, चेहरे को काटती हुई हवाओं के अंदर, जहाँ पर जमीन से पड़ता हुआ रिफ्लेक्शन आंखों को चुंधिया देता है, ये जवान दिन रात पेट्रोलिंग करते हैं। आइए इन्हीं से समझने की कोशिश करते हैं किस तरह की दिक्कतें आती हैं। सर, किस तरह की दिक्कतें आती हैं?
एक तो यहाँ गर्मी के दिन में टेम्परेचर काफी 40-50 क्रॉस हो जाता है।
आपके घर में किस तरह से छोटी छोटी चीजों से कोरोना का वायरस घुस सकता है, किस तरह से आपको अपने घर का रक्षक कवच तैयार करना है, इस बात से आज हम आपको आगाह करेंगे, साथ ही अफवाहों से भी आपको सावधान करेंगे।
अब जिंदगी क्या लगता है कि पूरे टाइम आपने यही एक छोटी सी बस्ती थी, आप बताते हैं कि बाढ़ का पानी घुस जाता था, लाइट नहीं थी, बिजली नहीं थी, अब कैसे जिंदगी बदल जाएगी? क्या बहुत जिंदगी बदल जाएगी। इस मोड़ पे हमको मोदी मिला, जब अमला पगला हो गया। मोदी को धन्यवाद, हम मोदी के लिए गाना ये गाए।
आपने अभी एयर स्ट्राइक का जिक्र किया। मैंने खुद एक सेशन कंडक्ट किया था जिसमें पूर्व सेना के तमाम अधिकारी जो हैं, सेनाध्यक्ष, एयर मार्शल, सब तमाम लोग मौजूद थे। तो उन्होंने भी ये कहा कि भाई रिस्क पॉलिटिकल भी होता है, ऐसा नहीं है कि सिर्फ सेना काम कर रही है। पॉलिटिकल बैकिंग नहीं होगी तो काम नहीं हो सकता, तो आपको ड्यू क्रेडिट देना होता है। इसको लेकर अलग अलग मत हैं, लेकिन एक मैं आपसे पूछना चाहती हूँ कि जब पुलवामा हो गया और आपने निर्णय लिया कि हम एयर स्ट्राइक करेंगे, बदला लेंगे, आपके जहन में उस वक्त क्या चल रहा था? क्योंकि पाकिस्तान भी परमाणु शक्ति है, अनस्टेबल नेशन है, वो कुछ भी कर सकता है।
लेह तक पहुंचने के लिए नीमू पदम दर्चा रोड का काम बीआरओ ने लगभग पूरा कर लिया है। और आपको बता दें कि पहले जो नीमू से सिर्फ चिलिंग तक एक रोड जाती थी, कच्ची रोड होती थी, और पीछे आप देख रहे हैं कि वो कच्चा पुल था जिससे आप हल्के वाहन जो है वो ले जा सकते थे। लेकिन अब जब ये नीमू पदम दर्चा रोड पूरी एक नया एक मार्ग जो है लेह तक पहुंचने के लिए जो बीआरओ ने डेवलप किया है, उसमें आप देखेंगे पक्की सड़क है, चौड़ी सड़क है, और हैवी व्हीकल के लिए
तो ये भी जानकारी दे दूं मैं कि सबमरीन के अंदर आपको ऑक्सीजन की भी कमी होती है। जी हाँ, बैटरीज जो हैं वो लगातार लेड पार्टिकल्स हाइड्रोजन एमिट करती रहती हैं, जिसकी वजह से यहाँ पर जो पूरा वातावरण होता है वो सांस लेने के लिए काफ़ी मुश्किल भरा हो जाता है। और सबमरीन जब समंदर के नीचे गहराई में सेल कर रही होती है तो उस वक्त ऑक्सीजन
सरकार से जरा सोच समझ कर ही पंगे लेने चाहिए। बहरहाल इस चर्चा में आप सभी लोग शामिल हुए, आपका बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया। और हमारा किसी की धार्मिक भावनाओं को आहत करना कतई मकसद नहीं था। इस शो में जो तमाम विचार व्यक्त किए गए हैं ये इनके निजी विचार।
Now, the much awaited moment has arrived for which we all have been waiting. We have with us today prominent TV news anchor and journalist Ms. Peenaz Tyagi. Before we start the session, I request everyone to say hi to Peenaz ma'am in the chat box. Ms. Peenaz Tyagi is a TEDx speaker and award-winning anchor and news reporter, currently associated with News Nation as senior editor and anchor. Prior to this, she was associated with Aaj Tak for over 7 years. From tracking Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Australia or South Africa to covering the hunt for stranded kids in a Thai cave, Ms. Peenaz has been a journalist with acumen for perfection and detailing. In her stint as a reporter in the Hindustan Times, Zee News and Aaj Tak, she has not only interviewed controversial politicians and diplomats, but as a defense expert, she has also explored the depths of ocean in a submarine, a rare for a journalist. Ms. Peenaz is now the editor and primetime anchor in News Nation. In over 16 years of journalistic journey, she has endeavored upon herself to take a larger role of building up news channel as the editor. Apart from news anchoring, Ms. Peenaz specializes in on-field news reporting and special interviews. She has covered 3 Lok Sabha elections and many state elections. During Lok Sabha election 2019, she interviewed PM Narendra Modi. Outside her professional duties, she is engaged in various educational projects. She is a regular guest lecturer at various universities. She is a workaholic who lives life to the fullest. An animal lover, she is associated with various NGOs in the field of animal welfare. We are so glad to have you here with us, ma'am. Okay. Now, before I request ma'am to start the session, sir, would you like to say something here for ma'am?
I think we wanted to get it started. Perhaps there is some technical glitch and Peenaz Tyagi might be connecting any time. As far as today's this whole topic of discussion is concerned, which is contemporary media trends and aspirations of content creators and receivers. Yesterday we talked about the sole TRP issue and the impact of the social media in the functioning of the today's media, and a lot of insight was provided to us by Amish Devgan. And I must tell you at the outset one very important thing and interesting thing for all those who joined the yesterday's session and who are there in today's session. Since we are organizing this session for our students that are existing and the aspirants students in DME and DME Media School, and DME is a part of Guru Gobind Singh Indraprastha University. and I have been fortunate enough to
Sir,
be associated. Yeah.
Peenaz ma'am has joined back. So now as she has joined back, so I would request ma'am that you could share something about your remarkable journey. Our participants here would love to know how to become a successful news anchor like you. So ma'am, can you please enlighten the students here?
First of all, sincere apologies for the technical glitches and delay. I had a last minute interview lined up, which I couldn't avoid because it was with one of the senior official. So, and I couldn't get enough time to prepare properly with like a tripod and everything for this Zoom meeting. So pardon me for distorted video and audio. Next time I'll compensate for it well in advance and prepare. And first of all, I would like to thank every one of you who made an extra effort to make that AV showing my journey and my work. If as far as the successful anchor is concerned, there is nothing called a successful anchor. For me, you become a journalist. First you become a journalist, then only you can become an anchor. Like, you can't be a anchor. Then they are like hosts, they are news readers, they are TP readers, they are MCs. So first, if you really want to be a news anchor, then you have to be a journalist first. And for a journalist, as sir said, knowledge is the key to run the TV media. So knowledge, read, exposure, and communication skills. And no work is small or big. You have to pay attention to minute details. So it's a long journey. So because the time is running short, I would request you if we can jump to today's topic, if that's fine with you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I would now request Dr. Amrish Saxena to please take the discussion forward.
Yeah, so as we decided for discussion of today's topic, that is contemporary media trends and aspirations of of content creators and receivers. To initiate this discussion, my first question to Peenaz, to you will be that if we look at the media scenario, it has been changing very fast, and particularly for the last 2 decades or so, I mean, since the time you have joined the industry, and this is all because of the changing technology, and technology has changed everything. As far as the working of the news channels is concerned, even in newspapers with the technological innovations in printing technology, etc., everything has changed because media is something which is completely dependent on the kind of technology that we have at given point of time. Now, the latest thing which has happened this year, that is this COVID-19 has struck, and during the last 6 months, the entire working of media organization has changed to meet this kind of challenge. So in the light of these two developments, let me ask you that how will you underline the changes which has happened, particularly the recent changes and the contemporary trends in media? How will you underline these trends which exist in media today?
Sure, sir. Media has changed a lot in last 6 months. If I'll ask all of you just to, pay 2 minutes, 5 minutes attention on the kind of news you've been seeing in last 6 months and what you've been seeing earlier, you can actually see and feel the difference. Like a layman, you are all a mass communication students, so you can very well define and feel the changes. But if you ask a layman, he or she can also talk about the changes. So let's go one by one. When you have a stable government in the center, then you don't have like a very heavy and hectic flow of news, the political news. Then you have like general routine news which are coming your way. In that situation, you have to create some content. There, the role of the content creator comes in. And fortunately or unfortunately, I'll say unfortunately, COVID stuck us. But as our PM said, आपदा को अवसर में बदलिए. So that's what happened with the media. So we were running on a very high cost equipments. Like we used to send our Dijaros for or live view units, which requires a person, a cameraman, and as well as it will require the whole setup to be done at the guest place, and which comes out to be quite a costly affair. Pandemic situation, you were not allowed to send people unit to the other person's home and all. So you shifted to Skype, you shifted to mobile apps, you shifted to meetings on Zoom platform or Share It or many other platforms. So it not only curbed the costing, also allows us to compromise in terms of the quality. Like earlier, when I started my career, quality was the supreme master. But slowly, gradually, when new channels came up, when there was a too many channels were there and competition was there, so the idea was to deliver the news faster as compared to your competitors. So that time we started doing the compromise with the quality in terms of the edit, in terms of the camera, in terms of the content, not in terms of the writing skills, I'll say, not with the information, but with the writing skills. So now TV media requires more of pace, more of content, and at a cheaper cost, because recession is going to hit us badly. So thanks to the technology and unfortunate hit of COVID, it provide us a platform and open the horizon to learn the new technique. Like especially the Hindi journalists are not very comfortable with the technique. Like they are like in their 40s, 50s, and the senior people were not very comfortable with the technique. Sir will understand, like nowadays the young students are coming in who really wanted to be a journalist. Earlier, the people who were aspirant of IAS examinations, and when they couldn't crack those, they used to switch to journalism. So those people have immense knowledge. Those people have amazing writing skills and experience. But you ask them to switch to a technology, it's like your parents. They have jitters, they have reluctance. So COVID-19 didn't left us with that option कि चलो नहीं ऐसे काम चला लेंगे, वो वाला option ही नहीं छोड़ा. So when all options were blocked, they were forced to switch to the technology, which every channel was trying, especially in Hindi journalists, they were trying their newsroom to be more tech savvy. So it was a hindrance. The people are not very willing for that digital change. So when they were not left with any option, they learned it. They not only learned it, they're doing it very fine. And now you'll be surprised to know many news channels are planning to use more and more of these digital platforms option available for a live, like Skype, or you download the commercially approved units like LiveView, Djaru platforms for your guest chats and all. So this is something which is like a cost-effective and faster and easier way for the news gathering. This is one thing COVID-19 has taught us. And now the second thing which I'll come to, the content part. If you will just think about it, like in last 6 months, we had only, if we keep aside the Sushant Singh Rajput case, these are the cases don't happen every day. These are very unfortunate incidents, don't happen every day. So what happened was, like, during the COVID timings, we had a very limited access to the content. So what we had started doing was, like, we have to give news. News was not coming because nothing was functional. No parliament was happening. No meetings were taking place. Nobody was going to the work. Not much of the happening was there in the markets. Nothing was there. It was a dull moment. So there comes the role of content creators. So they were producing nice, interesting contents, which we were forced to play on our channels because like they were interesting, they were fetching views. Like you have Begum who mimics Kangna Ranaut. You have Deshbhakt, ex-anchor and a very senior journalist, Akash Banerjee. You have other many people who are not as famous but has immense potential. So BB Wine, you know, the YouTuber. So these people were creating the content which was not only eye-catchy but newsworthy. The news which we were missing out due to the COVID, the news which was not coming up. So it was a different kind of a content which a common man was creating, and they were using their creativity, and their creativity was appreciated on different social media platforms. And as a result, news channels were also showing those clippings as a viral news, as aaj ki trending news, aaj ka social meter, all these kinds of things came up. You will realize on many channels, they have come up with this segments: trending news, social meter, viral khabar, aaj ki trending news, trend of the market. these kind of things came up, and the content will be not the content which reporter go and gather. The content will be of a YouTuber, the content will be of a Twitter person or a social media person. Of late, Delhi students must be aware about Delhi NCR crowd and also the other people. Baba Ka Dhaba. So Baba Ka Dhaba was a story given by a social media common man. He is Mr. Yash is the name. He was a normal food blogger. He used to go and write about food and small joints, and he just had a look at the old couple. They were preparing food and they were upset, so he just spoke to them, talked to them, uploaded on a Twitter account. Then the Twitter showed us magic, and news channels made a half-an-hour program. They interviewed Baba Ka Dhaba, they interviewed everything. So that's how the content creator was someone else. Later on, news channels followed that content up. So this is something which is happening in the similar manner. Then there's another story came up from Assam, Guwahati. Then there was another story came up from Amma Ki Rasoi from Agra. So, these are the content not created by the news channel, by the journalist. These are not the stories. These are not the news. These are like, I'll say, day-to-day soft feature stories, human interest stories. So during the COVID times, when we didn't had much of a political happenings, much of events, films releasing. So basically it was a dull period for news. So when this all was happening, so what we did was we opted for such content in terms of viral news, in terms of trending news. You must be knowing Baba Jackson. There was one guy who was like doing the steps of Michael Jackson. Hrithik Roshan tweeted about him, Amitabh Bachchan tweeted about him, and later on he not only became a star on news channels but went on a dance reality show also. So this is like the content is created by the common man. Like you also can create a content. Your some friend could be very good with a mimicry, or you might be knowing a very nice food joint with some speciality, somebody doing a very nice deed during the corona times. So you make a story, upload it on a social media platform, and later on it was picked by a news channel, for sure free of cost nowadays. But I think later in the future, when these platforms will become more and more popular, and there will be professionals who will call for courtesies like Deshbhakt. So they are like hardcore professionals set up. They are earning out of this whole platform. So maybe later on when we use their content, any organization have to pay. So right now I'm saying this content creators market is very booming, very developing, and anybody who has a nose and an eye for not only news, for a story. Now it's not about news. When you are running a 24-hour channel, it's not about news. It's about a story, something which appeals you, something which generate emotions in you, something which generates a curiosity in you. So that is a content creator. And you can see, I'll ask all of you to pay attention to any news channel for like a day. Like Monday, you watch a X news channel, Tuesday, Y. Then you will see the difference and what I'm talking about, how the content creators are taking over the space in news.
But Peenaz, I mean, whatever you said with regard to content creation, obviously now, as I have understood by this, content is created at two levels. Earlier, it was being done only by the newsrooms in newspapers and news channels. Now it's also being created by the common people, and now those kind of contents are being used in a big way, as you gave many examples, even by the news channels. But then this kind of relationship, don't you feel that it is very, very, I mean, risky relationship? Because I mean, if you are taking these kind of contents which are being created by the common people, and then there is no gatekeeping, and if a channel is taking any such information and making a program on that, there are risks involved that this kind of stuff might not be ethically correct, might be carrying any such information which is not the right kind of information. And then the kind of problems that we are facing, whether we call it disinformation or the ill information or the fake news. So don't you feel that the mainstream media, the news channels particularly, and the newspapers, they are indulging themselves, they are inviting themselves the risk of being indulged into this fake news kind of risk?
Uh, Absolutely, sir. See, initially, whenever anything new starts, so there are mistakes. You learn from those mistakes. You jump on things when they are new. So this had happened. Like in past, this had happened with not only with news channels, different web portals also. So after initial, you know, mishappenings, initial wrongdoings, because in news channels were also learning, or not only news channels, other platforms were also learning about this digital platform and the content creator things. Sorry. So what they had started doing later on, we have a platform. Google also enables you to do a fact check. There are Google classes which are organized. There are Facebook classes which are organized for a fact check and a fake news. How to identify whether the visual is uh, morphed, whether the visual is of past, whether the which is the location of the visual, whether they're saying the right thing. So being a news channel, we do keep a check on these. We do try and reach out to the person. Like for example, the Baba Jackson story, we figured out, okay, from where this guy is. Like it was uploaded on the internet, we went to the source, then from the source we figured out, okay, the first upload was from this location. Then we called up our stringer over there, like by any chance, any such guy. After approximately 12-13 hours, he reported back to us saying, okay, this is the guy, this is his name, this is his number, these are his whereabouts. We asked them to make a small story and check whether it's true. And when he confirmed it, then we wanted to play it up big. We sent a team over there from the nearby bureau, and they did a whole story on them. So that's how we go ahead with it. But yeah, there are shows which are specifically conducted to talk about fake news, like on News Nation I can talk about. There are other shows also on other platforms. There's a show named as Lie Detector Test. There we pick up 4-5 stories, and we do a lie detector test on them, like whether the claim made in social media is right or wrong. We at the end put a stamp on it. It's a wrong, it's right, it's partially right, partially wrong. So we are educating people about the fake claims, the fake news. Said
Uh,
when
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
it's that.
So as you said that I mean it's good that the News Nation is doing this all, but I'm not sure whether all the channels must be doing it, because if I can give you a very recent example, the News Broadcasters Association slapped a fine of 1 lakh rupees on many channels for publishing a wrong info, for carrying a wrong information. So and then I also asked the channels to run this corrigendum that this information was wrong that they carried. So these ethical standards are definitely have always been a big issue, and particularly these days, this have become a big issue. But do you feel that all the channels have set up that kind of mechanism of fact check with regard to news in their newsroom setup?
I'll say, sir, we have like different sources of news. One is our reporters. Then the reporter takes the whole onus and the responsibility of the news. Then we have bureaus. Then we have agencies, and accordingly, their answerability is, accountability is set. But when it comes to news from content creators or from social media platforms, which we can't ignore right now, so then we do have a team, and I'll say 2-3 channels others I know about, they do have a team. Like, I can't talk on the behalf of all, but yes, there are 3-4 other channels also I know very well. They are having a team who first, okay, I would like to explain how it happens in a normal newsroom. Supposedly, I find a very nice, interesting video on a social media. Why go far? Let's go yesterday's news only. So it'll be a nice example. Yesterday, we received a clip claiming in Pakistan, the whole 11 party whole march.
Alliance.
Yeah. So there in the Democratic March, Indian flags were flying high. So there were stories and there were like pictures where you could easily spot Indian flags. So we were surprised how it can be possible in Karachi and Lahore, Indian flags in the Democratic March. It is like not possible. But then we thought, okay, might be, there could be some elements, there could be something. So what we did was like, before playing that news up or before even taking it up, immediately the moment our research department flashed, this is something is circulating in the social media, there was a stop message came from all the responsible sources in company. You're not supposed to take it up, just put it on a hold, nothing will go on air. Message was clear. First we need to check whether it's a fake news or a right news. Don't even say it is being circulated in social media. So don't even say that. It has to be stopped there only, because the matter was very sensitive. So then we asked our digital team who do a fact check on all these things. There are people who are certified trainers for this. They are certified people. So they did a fact check. Then they figured out it's a morphed image. Then they uploaded. Then we took that up in our segment, lie detector test. Then we mentioned, okay, this was the news which were circulating on social media claiming tricolors were there in the Democratic March. So we investigated. It's a morph picture. It's a wrong news. And we not only did that, but we put experts bite, those who analyzed picture and talked about how the picture was morphed. So we do take care of all these things. So we have to do a check. But yeah, when you have a feature stories, then we at times take it up like that. Like if there is some challenge going on, if it's something which is a very pleasant story. So it's no harm for anybody. So we do uh, run that story. But yeah, if somebody is asking for funds, somebody is showing they're in a plight, then we do check, because suppose we run the story and the person was already having a good amount of infrastructure, he was just doing a gimmick just to gain funds from via social media. So we take a responsibility. Like we can't just claim somebody is in deep need without knowing that. Otherwise, the onus will be on us when the monetary gains are there. So the onus will be on us. So for such stories, we do have a strict check.
Yeah, so Peenaz, you talked about the content creators both in the mainstream media and on the social media, and talking about the media receivers, content receivers, whether you call it the receivers or the consumers of the media content. What will you say about that? I mean, whether you find a distinction nowadays, given the internet at our disposal, there is a difference between the content creator or the content receivers, or the receivers are merely the receivers, and then there are, I mean, receivers means, I mean, all those who are watching or who are listening or who are reading, whether on the mainstream media or on the social media. Now, what kind of problems these receivers face, and as far as the fake news is concerned, they even don't have the fact check, particularly the people who are using the WhatsApp messages, the fake Facebook shares and all. What will you say about those receivers?
So I think the digital revolution came much faster in India as expected. We were not ready for the same. Like you have to be ready for certain changes socially, and I'll say in terms of education also. Both ways we have to be ready for any change. Uh, Anything when we say is okay, this is the Western culture is ruining us. It's not Western culture is ruining us. It's like if we are not prepared for certain kind of exposure, we are not prepared for certain kind of a technology, then the whole issue starts. And this is what is happening in India, and many people are benefiting out of it. Many organization, many political ideologies, many institutions, they are benefiting out of it. uh, in your family groups you will be receiving n numbers of messages claiming what not, ये खा लीजिए कोविड ठीक हो जाएगा, फला नेता ने ऐसा कह दिया, हिंदू धर्म को खतरा हो गया, मुसलमानों के साथ ज्यादती हो गई. All these kind of news must be coming your way on your social on your WhatsApp groups or social media platforms, and your all of the relatives from B towns, C towns or villages, they are sharing it. And not only relatives from B town, C town, at times your parents also falls for those kind of news, because they were not ready for such kind of digital revolution. They were not ready for such kind of digital bombardment of content. And lots of people are using it to spread hatred, to spread a communal disturbance, to promote a certain kind of ideology, to make a certain political leader or a star project in a certain way. So these are the loopholes which are happening because of the lack of understanding, the lack of social digital maturity which is required. So these are the hindrance which needs to be addressed. uh, Social media regulations are there. uh, Supreme Court is also asked to draft certain guidelines, how to regulate it, how to identify. Now you have certain accountability for WhatsApp admin in charge. You have in tweets and retweets, you can regulate who will answer and reply to your tweets. You can immediately put someone's Twitter account into shadow, or you can force someone to delete the tweet, otherwise they block it. So things are moving at their pace, they're improving. But yes, again, as I said, we were not ready for such kind of digital revolution, such kind of excess and bombardment of digital news. So we need to be really more, I'll say, aware. We need to actually curb the fake news then and there. Like you have a newspaper, Nav Bharat Times, then you have something, Nav Bharat B is missing, Narat Times. So, and the font will be the same, the everything will be the same. I'm just giving you example. I'm not saying it is like that, but I'm giving you example. So everything will be the same. You will be surprised at times. I also, when I open the Clink and don't bother to check, the font is there, the everything is there, the byline is there, and then I said, what kind of news is this? Then I bother. Oh, it's not the paper which I'm reading. So it happens. It happens with everyone. And I, being from the media fraternity, can get confused for a second. Just imagine the people who are not uh, aware, not exposed to such kind of things. So it is a problem which is getting, which is harming us, which needs to be addressed, and strong guidelines needs to come. And whatever little we can do at our level, we are doing.
So, Peenaz, before taking the students' questions, the last thing that I wanted to ask you, I mean, since these are the students basically of journalism and mass communication who are attending this session, also there are some would-be students out there. So, what will you say about the importance of journalism and mass communication education if somebody wants to enter the media industry? How much this education is useful? And I'm asking you for the reason that you yourself have been a graduate in journalism and mass communication, and that too because DME is a part of this Guru Gobind Singh Indraprastha University, and you have also been a student of this university. What will you say that how much this journalism and mass communication education is important for somebody who want to join the media industry?
It is very important. I'll tell you, it is very, very important. And as I said in the past, classrooms might sound boring. Professors might sound old school thought and might sound irritating, and you might feel you know it all. But trust me, when the professors are continuously barging on you, like you have to be careful while giving the news, you have to do this. Sir, I beg your pardon, and I'm apologizing in the advance. Sir used to taught me press laws. Okay, so press laws is a very difficult subject, and you can't just write anything. Either it can be correct or wrong. It is not something कि आपने कुछ तो लिख दिया ना. So you have to be very accurate. You have to be very precise, and that was something which is like every student used to be very scared of that subject. And we were like, okay sir, कितना पढ़ाएंगे, कौन इतना ध्यान देता होगा, मतलब press laws और इतना ऐसे news लिखनी है और ये बातों का ध्यान रखना है. Being a student, we also used to feel that like, okay, we want to be the journalist. We want to just create revolution लाना है हमें. We don't want to hear about कौन सा press law कब आया था और क्या हुआ था. We don't want to talk about all that. What he's teaching us, it is not required. Trust me, I also had the similar thoughts while in the classroom. But okay, पास तो होना है, क्रेडिट्स तो पूरे चाहिए, तो पढ़ लो, क्या कर सकते हैं. But trust me, when I am sitting in my newsroom, and I still, when I'm talking to you guys, I can still remember my institute, that classroom where sir was teaching us and about press laws, You have to balance the news. You have to be careful. Such kind of people can put a case against you. Suppose you took a brand name, how you report if you find an irregularity in the brand, but you're not confirmed. So how you will give the information without putting yourself into the legal trouble. So while reporting a sexual abuse case, while reporting a case with a minor. So these are the things which used to look boring when I was attending the class, when I went for reporting. So बैक ऑफ माइंड होता है ना, बोलते रहे आपके माँ बाप भी घर में कुछ कुछ सुनाते रहते हैं, तो जब वो एक्चुअल में टाइम आता है तो आपके बैक माइंड जो होता है, जो स्लीपिंग माइंड होता है, वो एकदम से एक्टिवेट होगा, आपको याद दिलाता है कि अच्छा ये करना था. सो सिमिलर मैनर व्हाट हैपेंड वाज लाइक व्हेन आई वाज रिपोर्टिंग, सो I could recall, okay, no, it's a minor, you can't show the face. So these are the things which helps you there. This is one example of content, the subject knowledge, because that's the most boring part. Then when sir was organizing, or our teachers were organizing those communication classes where you have to give a presentation, and suppose about, you can pick and choose a topic on your own, and you have to give a presentation like why you chose the subject, what are the goods of this. You have to put the newspaper cutting on it and explain. So I found it very, I was like, what is this, too much of mehnat, khali bol nahi sakte hain. Then when I gave my first presentation to be qualified as a manager, like beyond a journalist, when they were doing a scrutiny for a managerial post, I realized the importance of that presentation which I gave in the classroom. So, you know, the kind of confidence, how to make a presentation, how to make a PPT slide, how to draft your press release. So all these things might look boring, but trust me, somewhere in the other in life, you will feel, okay, अच्छा किया पढ़ लिया. उस टाइम पे आपको लग सकता है कि okay fine, it's very boring, it's very irritating, it's very time consuming. This is not journalism. As journalism is coming on the TV, journalism is coming and doing the stories, explosion, talking. No, but when you are out in the market, and when you have to really do assignments, when you have to write a mail to someone, that time you feel the importance, how the mail drafting was taught in the class. That time I was like, why the hell it's being taught? I'm a journalist. I want to be a journalist. I don't want to do this mail thing. But when I drafted my first mail to the PRO, Air Force PRO, I can still remember left alignment, right alignment, date is on the left, what are the like body of the draft. So those things, what appearing very boring, came handy in the real life things. So that's what I'm saying. It will look boring, but trust me, it will help you. And I personally realized one thing. Being a mass communication student, you might not join newsroom, you might not join a PR agency, you might not do anything related to that particular course. But trust me, I personally feel if you opt for a mass communications course, it enhances your personality, it enhances your communication skill, it gives you an immense exposure about the world, not only in terms of news, watching movies, theater, maybe doing a assessment of an advertisement. So they evolve you as a human. Later on, you can take up anything in life. You want to do an MBA, do it. You want to do a teaching, do it. But you will be a smart human. You know, if you think this is not right, what you can opt for is, you can do a side-by-side graduation course. But a mass communication course helps you to develop a personality, to become a good communicator, to be a more presentable, well-exposed, well-aware person, and which helps in any field of your life. It could be MBA, it could be hospitality industry, it could be anything. So maybe after 1 year, you feel, no, this is not the forte, this is not I want to do. You have ample amount of opportunity. You could be a wedding planner. There also it will come handy. You have a creative essence, you have communication skills, you have presentation knowledge, you have everything. So you can be anything. And I think I have a bulletin at 3. It's already 2:53. So maybe I can have a session later. I have to quickly go, sir, without a formal goodbye, because I just, my producer just called me and I have to rush. I'm really, really sorry.
Okay, okay.
Maybe we
Kritika,
can have a session sometime later.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no problem.
Thank
No
you, sir.
problem.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay, bye, sir.
Kritika.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was a very insightful session, and all
Thank you.
our students are very lucky to have you here and listen to you. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your time. So now, as we move towards the conclusion of this session, I would like to request Dr. Susmita Bala, Head DME Media School, to please address the gathering.
Thank you, Kritika. Thanks a lot to Peenaz because बहुत सारा चीजें उसने share किया, joined lots of things. But important is this कि content generation created by common people means citizen journalism. So very important to know कि अगर हम लोग कोई भी चीज share कर रहे हैं तो cross check, recheck करना is very important because without that हम अपने किसी भी content को एयर नहीं कर सकते हैं. तो दिस इज इम्पोर्टेंट थिंग. एंड अदर थिंग, जो भी सोर्सेज हैं उनको आप जो भी टाइम स्लॉट देते हैं, जो भी आप उनसे कंटेंट लेते हैं, ट्रू और नॉट, उसको आपको क्रॉस चेक करना चाहिए. एंड as Peenaz communicated to all of you that important note to all of you that ensure content, right or wrong, accountability of group leaders and WhatsApp group, enhance your personality, that is very important. कुछ भी पढ़ रहे हैं, कुछ भी कर रहे हैं, कोई भी सब्जेक्ट है, जैसा कि ऑलरेडी पीनाज ने शेयर किया कि एट द कॉलेज टाइम हमने जो उन्हें पढ़ाया, जो भी हमारे साथ शेयर किया गया, वो अभी उनको फील्ड में काम आ रहा है. दैट मीन्स कि जो अभी तुम पढ़ रहे हो मे बी बोरिंग हो, बट दैट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. आपके बैक ऑफ माइंड में वो रहता है, और वो अगर आपके बैक ऑफ माइंड में रहता है, इफ यू आर इन क्लास, अगर रेगुलर क्लासेस अटेंड करते हो तो ऐसा हो ही नहीं सकता है कि आपके दिमाग में वो चीजें ना रह जाएं. तो इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट कि आप रेगुलर क्लास अटेंड करते हैं. फिर आप किसी भी फील्ड में जाएं, आपका पर्सनल डेवलपमेंट अलग से आपको क्लासेस करने की जरूरत नहीं है. दैट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. एनहेंस योर राइटिंग स्किल्स, दैट इज ट्रू. आप सब सोचते हो कि हमें बहुत अच्छा लिखना आता है, बट दिस इज नॉट ट्रू. जब आप लिखने बैठते हैं, आपके असाइनमेंट्स में बहुत सारी मिस्टेक्स होती हैं, फिर आपको लगता है नहीं हमने तो बहुत अच्छा किया था. बट इट्स वेरी ट्रू कि आपको बहुत बहुत एफर्ट्स करने की जरूरत है. टाइम नहीं था, पीनाज और भी क्वेश्चंस के आंसर दे सकती थी, बट आपने जो भी उनको सुना, अगर उसको सिर्फ फॉलो करते हैं तो आपके लिए बहुत बहुत अपॉर्चुनिटीज हैं फील्ड में जाने की और काम करने की. थैंक यू ऑल ऑफ यू.
Thank you, ma'am. It was indeed a very wonderful session, and though ma'am had to go, Peenaz ma'am had to go in between, but in her discussion, she has already answered all the questions that we have received from the students. So I thank you thanks everyone for being such a wonderful and patient audience, being such good listeners. I thank you everyone. Good day.
Whoever is watching this video, I would like to say that DME is providing you the best faculty management support and the love you will get. I don't think so. I can bet on this कि कोई और college ही provide करवा ही नहीं सकता.
We have one of the best faculty that a media college has, and believe me, I have known quite a few. I know quite a few people from different media institutes, and I think we have one of the best faculty.
कॉलेज में आई थी एडमिशन के लिए, तो जब मैंने अपने डीएमई का इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर देखा और फिर मैंने बाद में स्टूडियो देखा तो उस समय बिल्कुल फ्लैट हो गई. मैंने पापा को उसी टाइम कहा कि पापा मेरे को डीयू नहीं चाहिए, मेरे को उस डीएमई चाहिए.
Things are perfect over here. Everything, what I have compared and what I've observed regarding the other colleges and compared to my college, there's been, a lot of gap and a lot of things that, we can't just really compare. We have amphitheater, we have our studio particularly, which, any other college wouldn't have been offered to any, student.
One thing that I keep thinking about it, and I really enjoyed about studying in DME and being in that college is that the teachers are really welcoming towards your questions, and the classroom environment is very, very comfortable for you. So at no point of time did I ever feel like I couldn't raise my hand and ask a question, and they always supported us they were always open to our questions even outside the class.
Yes, I'm really grateful that I'm a student of DME.
Honestly, coming to DME मेरे life का best decision.
ये place ने मतलब DME has changed my life entirely. मतलब मेरा सबसे best decision था. मैंने DME choose किया. I'm so lucky.